All right, welcome to this week's edition of Elify interviews. And it is one you should definitely be listening in on because we're actually going to be interviewing my best friend, co founder of Elify, ER Wolf. But I'm actually not going to be doing the interview. It's actually going to be done by Kathy Inman and Kimberly Lai. We appreciate everything that they do for us. They're our family. They are integral parts of this Elify family. And I'm just excited to listen to the questions and the answers because I know one of these days is going to be my turn to do it. And ER is probably going to be in the same seat I am right now. But really looking forward to this one, digging into the background of Elify, some collaboration things that we're working on. And I know Kimberly and Kathy will pull that out of him. So I'm going to pass this over to Kathy. Looking forward to this.
Isn't it fun to jump in the mind of ER Wolf? Oh my gosh. I know. I'm excited. So hey, ER. We're going to interview you today and learn a little bit more, not about just you, but how Elify was started, how you guys came up with this fabulous idea, and where we are today. Kimberly, do you have an initial question for ER?
Well, I kind of want to know the history of Elify. How did you get a best friend named Guy? Let's tell that story.
Oh, for those who've been around with Elify for a while, you may know that Guy and I are both ex-athletes, and we both played for the University of Wyoming, but we played at different times and never had an opportunity to meet each other while we were at the university. But we did sync back up through our network of friends and peers that we had met while we were up there. And at the time, Guy was looking for a place to live. And I had a room available in my house. And Guy moved in. And late at nights, we'd be up. I would be up working. We had whiteboards. This is truly one of those garage startup stories. Had whiteboards around, and we were working on the Elify project. And Guy would be up. Guy, come here. I want to ask you something. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And that blossomed, and all of a sudden we were up every night talking about, like, how can we build technology that helps people advance forward in their business. And we were talking about all these concepts and doing all this market research, and that was the inception of Elify, and really putting that together. And then we started going out there and talking to our networks and raising capital, and then going out there and talking to our networks and finding customers. Originally, most people don't know this, but Elify was building large-scale solutions for larger organizations, companies, early on. And we learned a lot along that path. We learned that the sales cycle when you're dealing with large companies is very long. And we also learned that our end user was the small business owner. The big companies were servicing those small business owners. We were servicing the big companies with technology. And at the end of the day, the small business owner was using it. And that was an aha moment for us to say, let's take this direct to consumer, let's take this retail and help the end user have more success with technology. So long story short, the initial inception was a garage startup that Guy and I were living together, working on the project, and have slowly evolved it to where it is today.
I love that. So what are we talking? What year is this?
Oh my gosh, this had to be around 2010. So it blows my mind to think more than a decade ago we started this journey, and there's been lots of twists and turns along the entrepreneurial journey, but all of it has resulted to where we are right now, right here with you guys. So it's pretty exciting. Lots of lessons learned along the way.
Obviously, of course. Well, and some people know part of your story, and some people, I don't know if Kimberly knows this part of your story. So you were actually in affiliate marketing too. So you kind of started the path yourself, knowing what you wanted to build.
For those who've been around with Elify for a while, you may know that Guy and I are both ex-athletes, and we both played for the University of Wyoming, but we played at different times and never had an opportunity to meet each other while we were at the university. But we did sync back up through our network of friends and peers that we had met while we were up there. And at the time, Guy was looking for a place to live. And I had a room available in my house. And Guy moved in. And late at nights, I would be up working. We had whiteboards. This is truly one of those garage startup stories. Had whiteboards around, and we were working on the Elify project. And Guy would be up. Guy, come here. I want to ask you something. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And that blossomed, and all of a sudden we were up every night talking about, like, how can we build technology that helps people advance forward in their business. And we were talking about all these concepts and, doing all this market research. And that was the inception of Elify, and really putting that together. And then we started going out there and talking to our networks and raising capital, and then going out there and talking to our networks and finding customers. Originally, most people don't know this, but Elify was building large-scale solutions for larger organizations, companies, early on. And we learned a lot along that path. We learned that the sales cycle when you're dealing with large companies is very long. And we also learned that our end user was the small business owner. The big companies were servicing those small business owners. We were servicing the big companies with technology. And at the end of the day, the small business owner was using it. And that was an aha moment for us to say, let's take this direct to consumer, let's take this retail and help the end user have more success with technology. So long story short, the initial inception was a garage startup that Guy and I were living together, working on the project, and have slowly evolved it to where it is today.
I love that. So what are we talking? What year is this?
Oh my gosh, this had to be around 2010. So it blows my mind to think more than a decade ago we started this journey, and there's been lots of twists and turns along the entrepreneurial journey, but all of it has resulted to where we are right now, right here with you guys. So it's pretty exciting.
Obviously, of course. Well, and some people know part of your story, and some people, I don't know if Kimberly knows this part of your story. So you were actually in affiliate marketing too. So you kind of started the path yourself, knowing what you wanted to build.
Absolutely. And this is interesting because I was doing affiliate marketing in early 2000, like 2001 is when I started in affiliate marketing. And it was the first time in my life I realized you could really have a business. You could make money from a computer. And you have to imagine the .com had just bombed in early 2000. And most people were like, what is this internet thing, right? We didn't have a lot of social media sites and stuff like that at that point in time. And yet there was an opportunity for people to connect buyers with sellers and make a commission. But it was heavily reliant on technology. And that was one of those things that I was thinking about of, wow, if more people knew that they could work from their computer and leverage technology to be successful, there would be an opportunity to really enact some change. And that's sort of where the essence of Elify and creating software tools came from, because I would go and I'd talk to other entrepreneurs or other business owners and watch what they were doing. And a lot of it was so analog, right? They had their notebook and they're writing down their meetings. They had traditional business cards that they're handing with people. Obviously, this is mid 2000s by this point. And we saw the direction where things were going. You have to remember the timeline, like smartphones didn't even come out until about 2007. So mobile web, all of that type of stuff. It's really been an advancement of technology happening in the marketplace, and just understanding how business owners can leverage that technology to give them a leg up. Because when I was an affiliate marketer, that's all we did was leverage technology.
Right. So I know part of that's right. Kimberly, does this have any questions for you on this? Because I have another one, but I know a lot more of his story than you do. So
I'm writing right now because I did not know that. So no, you keep asking the questions because I'm getting a lot of juicy information.
Juicy information. You had no idea you had juicy information, ER. Yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about, I love the story about how you came up with the mobile first approach and why that's so important to you guys.
Yeah. So the story goes that my wife and I are traveling in Thailand, and we're walking around, and we had started the company, and we were building the solution, and a lot of what was going on was desktop based, right? People are logging in from their computer, on the web, doing everything as it had traditionally been done up until about that point in time. And I was walking down the street, and we were through one of those sort of, I hate to say it, like slummy, poverty-stricken towns in Bangkok. And I looked over, and just by glance, I noticed a little kid playing on what was a dirt floor. And I was blown away by what he was doing. He wasn't playing a game. He was on a cell phone on a dirt floor in a small, what seemed like a grass thatch hut. You know what I mean? And I go, oh my gosh, like this is the future. That the future, especially in emerging economies and in third world countries, they're leapfrogging over traditional computers, right? I mean, could you imagine if everybody who adopted computers first had to adopt those ones from like the 70s that took up a whole room? You know what I mean? That's the beauty of progress when we think about technology and the advancement of it. You go from that to one day you're going to have a machine, you know, in your house to do all your work. Like that was the old Bill Gates, a computer in every home, the road ahead type of thing. And there I am seeing somebody, you know, it was Angry Birds, right? They're sitting there playing Angry Birds, like bing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like they are going to leapfrog over personal computers, laptops, things like that. And everybody in the world is going to have a smartphone in their hands that are supercomputers. How can we allow them to use these things to do business? Because a lot of what I see, I mean, for most people, this is entertainment, right? I'm going to watch video, I'm going to peruse social, and we already see people are spending like 4.5 hours a day with their eyeballs glued to this. If that's where your target audience is, you want to be in front of them, capturing their attention where their attention already is. So that was that aha moment for me that we have to be mobile first, that the content that we allow people to create on the platform has to be able to be created on their, you know, on their mobile device for the mobile device. And that was really the inception of shifting from working with large organizations to provide them sort of enterprise-esque solutions to coming down at the retail side and going direct to consumer and saying, we can put your content in front of your audience on the mobile device and make that sharing easy. And there in turn is going to get you more of an audience, more interest, and more sales in your business.
Absolutely. And I just love that story. Kimberly, I don't know if you've had heard that story or not yet. So I just love that story because I think it really speaks to everyone, right? It definitely opens up the world. It definitely opens up some of the things that we've been doing lately. Online networking, you know, being able to talk to anyone where they are, where, you know, where they're at, right? Yes. Are they a brand new business owner? Are they a seasoned business owner? Do they not even know how to use their phone, right? Sometimes that's all they think it is. You know, oh, my phone's just to call people. I just, you know, had a face-to-face with somebody and it was like, you can do all that on your phone. Like, it's still such a foreign concept to some people because they don't think about the power that's in their cell phone. Well, and it's not, to your point, it's just now it's not even the power to play games or even to build your business card. It's use this as the hub to build your business, build your connections, hold people's information. You know, I mean, like you guys know, I mean, when I was introduced to the product, I was just like, everyone needs this. This is the answer to so many small business questions in one package.
I mean, when we think about it, tools are so important and critical in what we do, right? In anything that we do. If we're leveraging tools, we can get more done. And I think of tools in the way I think of, let's say I'm digging a foundation. I can dig it with a shovel or I can dig it with an excavator. An excavator is a much better tool for getting large holes dug faster than doing everything by hand with a shovel, yet both are tools. And at some point, everybody needs to realize technology that we have in the palm of our hand, like there's more power and capability in this thing right here than the computers that put man on the moon. Like, to me, that is so mind-blowing. And if you're just going to use that to entertain yourself, you're missing out on a massive opportunity. You could almost run an entire business from your phone. And in my point, my mind, that opens up so much flexibility and not being tied down and providing you more time freedom or more location freedom. And if you are leveraging the right tools in your business and advancing your business, at the end of the day, more financial freedom. And I think that's what all business owners are looking for. They just might not even be aware that the day is now where this stuff exists. And it's not going to get to Guy's point says this all the time, any less digital as we advance forward into the future. I truly think you're going to see more and more people joining the business world because of access to these devices and little tools that they can plug into, that Elify might offer or other companies offer.
Absolutely.
Well, you mentioned.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, he mentioned a minute ago that basically we leapfrogged over the computer right now. That this whole generation is, well, we've kind of already, Elify's already done that too. It's people just haven't taken that leap from, you don't need the website anymore. You don't need the brochures. You don't need the business card. You don't need everything that you think you need to start a business anymore. It's all right there in your hand, and you can do it while sitting on a dirt floor. I mean, it's really up to your mindset what you can do, because you have the tool at the palm of your hand to utilize. I mean, you guys have already taken that leap, right? Like, you're already the future thinking. It's now just getting everybody else to kind of get comfortable with the fact that, yeah, we're moving this fast.
And it's going to move faster. I mean, Kimberly, you're spot on, and it's going to continue to advance at a faster and faster rate. And this is what we're seeing. Anybody who's opening their eyes to what's going on in the digital landscape, it's not getting any less digital. It's just not. It's going to continue to advance, and the pace at which it advances is going to be moving much and much more rapid. And the sooner you can adopt and plug into that type of stuff. I mean, AI is going to change stuff, and we're just now hearing in the headlines some of the first steps in that advancement. Imagine, and this is one of those things that I think Guy and I spend a lot of time doing, right? We know we can only operate here in the present, in the now, what we're doing right now. We're filming this, but we also have to live in the future a little bit, and not just a week into the future, a month into the future, a year into the future. That's great from your business perspective, but what is the world going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And what types of trending patterns are you seeing going on so that we can capitalize on these things? If you see that technology is becoming a more and more important part of how you run your business and how you engage in business, and you're non-technical, you better make the decision to start plugging into it, or you're going to get left behind. And that's really the reality of it, is those who adopt it and implement it within what they're doing are going to advance forward, and they're going to reap the benefits of it. And those who get left behind are going to be asking why.
Absolutely. And, well, two things to that point. Number one, you don't have to be super technical. You do not have to write code to be able to have something online and to be a user of this product of Shuffle. But then something else you talked to earlier too is you don't have to be really.
Absolutely. And this is interesting because I was doing affiliate marketing in early 2000, like 2001 is when I started in affiliate marketing. And it was the first time in my life I realized you could really have a business. You could make money from a computer. And you have to imagine the .com had just bombed in early 2000. And most people were like, what is this internet thing, right? We didn't have a lot of social media sites and stuff like that at that point in time. And yet there was an opportunity for people to connect buyers with sellers and make a commission. But it was heavily reliant on technology. And that was one of those things that I was thinking about of, wow, if more people knew that they could work from their computer and leverage technology to be successful, there would be an opportunity to really enact some change. And that's sort of where the essence of Elify and creating software tools came from, because I would go and I'd talk to other entrepreneurs or other business owners and watch what they were doing. And a lot of it was so analog, right? They had their notebook and they're writing down their meetings. They had traditional business cards that they're handing with people. Obviously, this is mid 2000s by this point. And we saw the direction where things were going. You have to remember the timeline, like smartphones didn't even come out until about 2007. So mobile web, all of that type of stuff. It's really been an advancement of technology happening in the marketplace, and just understanding how business owners can leverage that technology to give them a leg up. Because when I was an affiliate marketer, that's all we did was leverage technology.
Absolutely. And, well, two things to that point. Number one, you don't have to be super technical. You do not have to write code to be able to have something online and to be a user of this product of Shuffle. But then something else you talked to earlier too is is you don't have to be this seasoned business owner. I run into people all the time when I'm out and about networking, and they're like, oh, I just started. I don't have a website yet. I don't have a business card printed. I don't have my marketing materials. Well, number one, if you just started, that all costs money. Right? We get that. That's something that you have to, spend something on. And we all get the whole spend and make thing. It's not that we're saying you don't need anything.
Sure.
Right. But you could be really smart about where you start and getting yourself a web presence. Let's talk about that a little bit. How many small businesses don't even have a presence on the web to send people to?
Kathy, this is probably the most important thing and the most critical thing that anybody watching this understand. The first thing is that there are trillions of dollars being transacted online every year. Okay, there's a good chance that there's money being spent in the industry that you are in right now. But if you don't have an online presence, if there is not a way for somebody to see you online, you don't exist. If you're offline, you're probably even limited to a specific geographical area on what your marketing reach is doing. So you're really confining your opportunity. But when you get online, it expands to like globally. Anybody around the globe can find you online. And the statistics on this are abysmal. This is probably one of the things that I'm most passionate about, which is entrepreneurship. I think everybody should be in business. There's just too many advantages to list about being an entrepreneur and being a business owner. And you want to tap into where the market is. So there are little steps that we can take to be or create that online presence so that we can capitalize in the commerce that's happening online. And the statistic is 40%. 40% of small businesses have zero online presence. And if you're saying, well, but I've got a Facebook group or I've got a LinkedIn profile, guys, that is not your company website. That is not your company landing page. That is not your brand. That is you with a Facebook page or a LinkedIn page. So really, we need to understand that there is these low-hanging fruits that we need to address to become digital, and they're not hard things to overcome. And to Kathy, your point, when I first started, again, I'm dating myself, over 20 years ago when I started as an affiliate marketing, early 2000, you needed to know how to code HTML. You needed to know how to be a graphic designer so you could build the sites, the websites, these very robust websites. I know there were people paying thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to create that online presence. The beauty of technology as it goes forward into the future is it becomes easier to implement and cheaper to implement. And that's really one of the missions that we have over here at Elify is we want to take these robust and cutting edge solutions, things that are out there being leveraged by the big organizations, Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies, and really simplify and scale it down to the small business owner, the micro entrepreneur, the person who, if you're anything like me, when you're starting a business, you feel like you're wearing every single hat in your business. You're the CEO, you're the trash man of everything you do, and you're everything in between. And you haven't gotten to that level or that point in your business where you're taking a hat off and you're putting it on to somebody else who's just as skilled or more skilled than you, right? Take a hat off and put it on Kathy. Thanks, join the team. Take the hat off, put it on Kimberly. Thanks, join the team. You guys use your superpowers like I use my superpower. But if you're trying to be all things in your business, you've got to start leveraging either other people or other tools to help you level up and take your business to the next level. So we want to help those 40% of people who don't have that online presence. And we know in the United States that 99% of registered businesses are those small businesses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, you're right. I always say, like, I just want to shout it from the rooftops.
I do too.
Do you have, and do you know how many people I run into that already have a URL? They're like, I bought a URL, but I've never done anything with it.
Yep.
Okay, well, let us help you direct it somewhere for, under $50 a month. You have a website, you control it, you can put anything on it, you can edit it. You don't have to have any kind of coding experience, and you're going to be able to be found and have somewhere to direct people to do business with you. And I mean, that is what we need to be shouting from the rooftops to help people, because I do think, and I know, you and Guy talk about all the time, the U economy. People have multiple things that they do. A lot of people have multiple businesses that they run. We run into this a lot when people do stumble across Shuffle, they do find us, or we get, introduced to somebody. And it's like, why on earth would I need 10 landing pages or 10 digital business cards with you guys? So talk about how you guys came up with that concept. Because again, when I first learned about it, I was like, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So let's go back to that inception story where we were serving large organizations. And one of the features within this robust solution, we had like a whole back office that we were providing to companies for them to provide to their business owners. And one of the elements within that was a digital business card. And that became the most popular element within this back office solution that we were providing. And when we decided to take it direct retail to the customer and say, hey, that was one of the most important features, create that initial impression, set yourself up to make a great first impression in how you connect and share information with the people that you're meeting. But introducing yourself in a whole new way is just one step in a larger or bigger picture. Because if you followed along with Elify for a while, you probably heard us say it's all about giving the right information to the right person at the right time. And I'm a big quotes guy. I'll say things like a confused mind will always say no. These are the mantras that I have in my head that are going off, reminding me on a constant basis, be aware of this, right? If I try to open the fire hose when I'm talking to somebody, like, here's everything I do under the sun and everything about my business and all of that type of stuff, and they're just blasted and it blows them back and they're like, ah, then they're like, well, what was that product you were trying to tell me about? Because I got lost with the history and the 20 other products and the 5 other things that you do. This is why you need more than one card. Because you want to cut through that noise, you want to grab their attention, and you want to share the one thing that you guys know they're interested in. And then let them make the informed decision. And you want to lower the friction using a digital tool that allows them to move forward in that process, in the relationship that you're building with them. In fact, Kathy, when you mentioned the U economy, that's really what it boils down to. It's about people doing business with people they know, like, and trust. And the future is, in a way, cutting out the middleman. You know what I mean? Allowing you to find the people who are going to provide you a service or a product in a knowing and trusting way, and then be able to be referred or get referrals to those types of individuals. And I think that's what I see as the future. What does the next, 2 to 5 years look like? It looks like a complete change, because a lot of the businesses or a lot of the roles that exist today may not exist in the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, we don't even know the implications of AI, and this is just right at the inception. And yet I'm already hearing the trickling of news that it's going to replace, some pretty high-end jobs, including things like coding, right? If the AI writes its own code, do you need a coder to code? And yet, 10 years ago, people would have been like, just learn how to code, and that's the solution. No, learn your value, learn the products or services that you believe in that you want to take to the market, and create an economy around you. And then get out there and connect with people and share information and show them, market to them with the multiple cards that you have, so that you can start to do business and create an economy around yourself. And I think that's what's going to cushion people from the blowback of what might happen as the world changes around us.
Absolutely. And people, I get it, right? People don't like change. I think we run into that a lot. We, when we're out networking, they're just like, I get this all the time. I love my business card.
Yeah.
They just hold it very dear and near, and they spend a lot of time nurturing it. But you know what? It's only that big.
Yeah.
That's how much room you have. Maybe front and back if you're really good, right?
How many videos can you put on that, right?
How are you going to direct me to all the things about you? Since we do have so many things in the world today that introduce us, that talk about what we do. We're out there curating, and of course, Kimberly can talk to this. We're curating websites and social media and different sites and different videos and different things and this and that. But how do we get that to anybody, right? Yeah. So you also have to have a way to deliver that information again to the people who are interested in consuming it.
That's right.
So as you meet them, give them a bite at a time. Tell them a little bit more. Tell them, the next step. Tell them how to do business with you.
Yep.
And that's what's so, again.
Sometimes they may not want to do business with you, but you just met somebody, which leads you into the collaboration who would know somebody that does want to do business with you. And that's kind of where our world is headed, right? Is more in the athletic superstar is not necessarily the testimonial anymore. Who we need to relate to is, our neighbor who's out there hustling and running 7 businesses too. What's working for them? And so if we work together on that, we can share the insights, and we're building with each other, because
right.
like-minded people will gravitate to like-minded people, and then it's just building blocks for each other. I've learned that. Kathy introduced that to me here in the past 5 years. My world has opened up like beyond belief, from meeting one person to the next person to the next person, having no idea what was really in store for the future, but I had my eyes open, and that's growth. And that's where we're all like headed. And Shuffle is the tool right now that bypasses every other frictionable object out there, especially in the social media platforms, right? You can't have a link. You can't have a link. You can refer. You can't. Okay, here, boom, there's your link. Everything done. Thank you. Moving on.
Well, I think going back to what Kathy was saying, there's two aspects, right? One is the content. That's what you're creating that an eyeball is going to see, okay? You have to create something to have a digital presence online. And when we all take a step back and we look at every website we've ever come across, they're all just a series of landing pages, right? Pages with content on them. Those pages might link to each other. They might point to something else. They might solicit you for a product or a service, but they're all just a series of pages. We need to make access to that as simple as possible, and that's the goal here at Elify. On the other side is, once you have a presence, you need eyeballs to see it. You need to get the word out. You need to share it. And you need to be able to share it both online, where things are still growing and trending, and offline, because offline is still relevant. In real life, stuff is still happening. So we want to take the content and empower people to create the content, and then we want to empower them with different ways to share the content, right? Whether it's email, text message, social media, offline, maybe you're airdropping it, or QR codes, or tap products, etc. There are all these different ways to share so that people actually see the content that you've curated for them. I think that's huge. And then Kimberly, what you're talking about that's even more important is the way we work together about all of this stuff and the way we collaborate together. I think this is why networking is so critical. And everything I've accomplished in my entire career and in my entire life has been through the people that I've met or know. I mean, at the end of the day, I can backtrack it all the way down to that. If I didn't meet Guy through other peers and other teammates, Elify, in my opinion, would not exist. You know what I mean? Customers, clients, collaboration partners have all come through referrals through our network. Like, that's what's so powerful. And when people understand that they can tap into that, like it turns on a whole new opportunity for them to expand and to grow. And I think that, the big issue that I see for a lot of people is either a scarcity mentality or an abundance mentality. And a scarcity mentality says there's not enough to go around. It's me versus you. In order for me to win, somebody else has to lose in every interaction. And I see people who operate under that, and then they wonder why they feel like they're going it alone and they're not making forward progress and they're struggling. And every sale has to be your customer loses in a way because you're getting it over on them, you know? And then on the other end, you have this abundance mentality. I think about like what we were just talking about, 40% of small businesses don't have an online presence. There's 32 million businesses in the United States, 99% are small. That's like 15 million businesses out there that we can help serve and advance their business forward. I don't have enough time to talk to 15 million businesses. We're going to do our best, but when you open up the opportunity for people to join you in that mission, the abundance, there's so much to go around. And I think that way across all industries, there's so much to go around if you're willing to work together in collaboration on that type of stuff. And part of that networking is identifying your collaboration partners, where you guys can work together so that, again, I say these all the time, the high tide raises all ships.
I knew that was coming.
Kathy already knows that it's coming. And it's true. You have to remind yourself that this abundance, if everybody's doing well, we can all win. And I'm, again, a bit of a nerdy guy, a bit of a math guy. John Nash, right? They made a movie about him called A Beautiful Mind. Russell Crowe played his character. He was a mathematician, and he came up with a lot of concepts around game theory. And most people who are playing games, they're sitting there saying, I'm a winner, you're a loser. There's winners and losers. And John Nash was one of the first people who came and said, hey, guys, if the three of us work together, we can all win. Wouldn't it be better if all of us won instead of just one of us and the other two losing? And then it's like, Oh, a whole new concept. Well, when you start leveraging that in what you do every day in the different aspects of your life, that it just feeds on itself and the abundance grows. And the collaborations that happen and come about can be monumental. They can be industry moving. And that's really exciting.
Well, and I think that, some of this is a mind shift, right? So, and we talk about this all the time, and these are my little just placeholders, right?
Yep.
So if I'm out networking, right, and you hand me a card, so I meet, what do I have here? 6 people. I go out and network and I met 6 people. Your business card is basically your networking card.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about this all the time, right? And Elify is your networking card that comes with a network.
Yes.
Right? Because all these people can now live in my phone. I don't have to have 10, or 6 business cards that I just picked up from people and carry these around all day and go, who do you need to know? Oh,
Yep.
You need to know him? Here you go. Oh, you need an introduction to her? Here you go. I can just go to my phone and all of my contacts and everyone I've met and all of their networking digital business cards are in my phone.
Yeah.
And
so
let's take that visual one more step. Let's turn them over here and let's start stacking them.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we're working together and we have a pyramid and we're building it stronger. And we've all gone up together because we're networking in a group and we're referring and we're making, maybe you didn't need me, right? Maybe you met me and you don't need what but you might need somebody I know.
That's right.
So if I carry all those people around with me, right? I mean, I think that the power really is in the networking card that is part of this network. And it's so much bigger. And I know that, again, to your point, that concept, and people are like, wait, what?
I mean,
you're like, yeah, carry your network around with you.
Part of it is about optimization. It's about efficiency. Okay. That's really what it boils down to. We all have, I'm not alone. And I know people who are watching this are not alone. We all have these stacks, right? And the stack is that thing where you're like, hey, I know there's business in here. There's value in here. Like if I work it, but then the reality is like 9 times out of 10, and most likely 10 times out of 10, we all have this stack that's sitting there unworked because there's this force of friction to go from the analog to the digital. We put in like a scanning device so you could just scan in the data to collect card information from people. But to Kathy, your point, if I'm out networking, what likelihood do I have that I'm going to have all of these cards in this stack in my pocket at any one time so that, oh, you know who you need to meet? You need to meet Terry here. I've got Terry's card right here. Let me give it to you. We never are in that position because opportunities come at the most inopportune time. It's when I'm at the soccer game and I bump into another parent and we're talking and we get to needing to exchange information or I want to connect them with somebody. It's when I'm in the grocery store line and I'm waiting in line and I've got 10 minutes of idle time and I'm talking with somebody and we both realize we're in the same industry and we need to connect. Or when I'm in my neighborhood online chat and a neighbor has an issue and they're looking for a recommendation, when I have it all on here, it's at my fingertips. Hey, let me give you my information, or hey, let me give you Kimberly's information, or let me give you Kathy's information. That's just the way things have progressed to doing. And I made this comment, it got posted on social a few days ago, right? If the mantra, if we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always gotten. Okay? It's not the case. Guys, things change over time. Could you imagine if you adopted using fax and then you were adamant about not ever stopping to use fax? Or heck, take it a step further. If we only interacted with people through mail instead of email, like that jump to email, and now email is this 40-year-old thing. I mean, there are all these vestigial pieces of things that we've always done. And we think, oh, I'm just going to keep getting what I've got by doing what I've always done. And then the world changes around you. And you're like, my results are going down. Guys, if you're seeing that trend line going down, that's your signal that you have to make a change. That you have to look at what's not working anymore.
SOS. Right?
Yeah, and you need to change the way you're doing things. And I started going to business networking groups early on. And I would go to a group and it was everybody take a card right? Let's all meet each other. Let's all learn what we do so we can refer each other business. And I'm a firm believer in that, right? Not the networking group itself, but the fact that everybody knows on average 600 other people. So if I talk to 10 people, that's actually 6,000 people that I can get in front of if I can empower those people to refer me. Well, what has a better likelihood? A piece of paper or something digital? Something digital. Well, maybe it wouldn't have happened, like social media couldn't have existed in the 90s. Now technology has changed in advance. We're not on dial-up anymore, right? We've got like fast fiber optic or 5G or whatever you're on. Those are the types of things that empower the advancement. Once you start to see it advancing, you better get on board or get left behind. That's truly what the vision looks like, is you're looking for the trends on where things are going in different directions. And some things will trend up and burn out. That's part of the nature of it, right? Other things will trend up and carry on. And the faster you become at adopting it and implementing it and become skillful at it, the more you're going to reap as a benefit out of it.
But I think it just kind of made me giggle when he said that. I think I hear so many times when people tell me, oh man, Shuffle saved me the other day. I didn't have a business card on me and I was out and somebody asked me for information. And to me, what's funny is like 9 times out of 10, you don't even have your own card on you, more or less. People that are hoping you're walking around with their business cards. Oh. Right? So, I mean, we have to, some of this is also just being realistic. People cannot physically carry around your information. They need to be able to find you in their phone very quickly, sort to who you are, sort to who they need to refer you, make notes just like you can in a couple. Who was this person? That's Why am I referring them? Why? How did I meet? I mean, all the things you can do. Again, it gives your brain a break. It makes you not have to remember all the things. And that, again, that's what, when I met you guys in 2017, all the light bulbs went off because I had been in different businesses. I'd had, different experiences. And I remember sitting, like you said, you're sitting in carpool line and you're like, wow, I could be very productive and I could make some phone calls and some follow-up, except for all my notes are at home on a piece of paper or in a, notepad or wherever. Yeah. And that's, I think that was my aha moment that I think we're still delivering to people because they don't know that there's another way, It's
about optimization. It's about efficiency. Okay. That's really what it boils down to. We all have, I'm not alone. And I know people who are watching this are not alone. We all have these stacks, right? And the stack is that thing where you're like, hey, I know there's business in here. There's value in here. Like if I work it, but then the reality is like 9 times out of 10, and most likely 10 times out of 10, we all have this stack that's sitting there unworked because there's this force of friction to go from the analog to the digital. We put in like a scanning device so you could just scan in the data to collect card information from people. But to Kathy, your point, if I'm out networking, what likelihood do I have that I'm going to have all of these cards in this stack in my pocket at any one time so that, oh, you know who you need to meet? You need to meet Terry here. I've got Terry's card right here. Let me give it to you. We never are in that position because opportunities come at the most inopportune time. It's when I'm at the soccer game and I bump into another parent and we're talking and we get to needing to exchange information or I want to connect them with somebody. It's when I'm in the grocery store line and I'm waiting in line and I've got 10 minutes of idle time and I'm talking with somebody and we both realize we're in the same industry and we need to connect. Or when I'm in my neighborhood online chat and a neighbor has an issue and they're looking for a recommendation, when I have it all on here, it's at my fingertips. Hey, let me give you my information, or hey, let me give you Kimberly's information, or let me give you Kathy's information. That's just the way things have progressed to doing. And I made this comment, it got posted on social a few days ago, right? If we the mantra, if we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always gotten. Okay? It's not the case. Guys, things change over time. Could you imagine if you adopted using fax and then you were adamant about not ever stopping to use fax? Or heck, take it a step further. If we only interacted with people through mail instead of email, like that jump to email, and now email is this 40-year-old thing. I mean, There are all these vestigial pieces of things that we've always done. And we think, oh, I'm just going to keep getting what I've got by doing what I've always done. And then the world changes around you. And you're like, my results are going down. Guys, if you're seeing that trend line going down, that's your signal that you have to make a change. That you have to look at what's not working anymore.
SOS. Right?
Yeah, and you need to change the way you're doing things. And I started going to business networking groups early on. And I would go to a group, and it was everybody take a card, right? Let's all meet each other. Let's all learn what we do so we can refer each other business. And I'm a firm believer in that, right? Not the networking group itself, but the fact that everybody knows on average 600 other people. So if I talk to 10 people, that's actually 6,000 people that I can get in front of if I can empower those people to refer me. Well, what has a better likelihood? A piece of paper or something digital? Something digital. Well, maybe it wouldn't have happened, like social media couldn't have existed in the 90s. Now technology has changed in advance. We're not on dial-up anymore, right? We've got like fast fiber optic or 5G or whatever you're on. Those are the types of things that empower the advancement. Once you start to see it advancing, you better get on board or get left behind. That's truly what the vision looks like, is you're looking for the trends on where things are going in different directions. And some things will trend up and burn out. That's part of the nature of it, right? Other things will trend up and carry on. And the faster you become at adopting it and implementing it and become skillful at it, the more you're going to reap as a benefit out of it.
I hear so many times when people tell me, oh man, Shuffles saved me the other day. I didn't have a business card on me and I was out and somebody asked me for information. And to me, what's funny is like 9 times out of 10, you don't even have your own card on you, more or less. People that are hoping you're walking around with their business cards, right? So, I mean, we have to, some of this is also just being realistic. People cannot physically carry around your information. They need to be able to find you in their phone very quickly, sort to who you are, sort to who they need to refer you, make notes just like you can in a couple. Who was this person? Why am I referring them? Why? How did I meet? I mean, all the things you can do. Again, it gives your brain a break. It makes you not have to remember all the things. And that, again, that's what, when I met you guys in 2017, all the light bulbs went off because I had been in different businesses. I'd had, different experiences. And I remember sitting, like you said, you're sitting in carpool line and you're like, wow, I could be very productive and I could make some phone calls and some follow-up, except for all my notes are at home on a piece of paper or in a notepad or wherever. Yeah. And that's, I think that was my aha moment that I think we're still delivering to people because they don't know that there's another way,
I think that's part of it, right? It's Kathy, you and I have seen this before just in our time together where somebody has the aha moment, like all the pieces come together. And I know, Kimberly, from a marketing standpoint, it's the repetition. We say a lot of the same things over and over and over again to people because that common thread does not change in what we're doing and what we're working towards. But eventually somebody hears it in the right way that speaks to them, and the light bulb goes off. And Kathy, we've had the pleasure to experience that multiple times with multiple people. And it's like, you see their eyes get big. Then you see the brain works. It's like the gerbils are spinning the wheel up there and it's going on full blast. And it's like, wait a second. And then they start asking these questions. It's like, I've connected the dots and now I'm extrapolating out on the implications of this thing. And when you start saying, yes, 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 you've got it, then you know that they understand a little bit more, maybe not in the entirety, but a little bit more that they have enough to be dangerous with, and they plug into it. And then it's like the feedback loop starts coming. Oh my gosh, I did this and I got this as a result. Oh my gosh, I did this and I got this as a result. And I think that's one of the things that excites Guy and I the most. It's not about necessarily the Elify business and how it grows. It's the impact that we can make in all of these other businesses. I'm a firm Zig Ziglar, student where it's like, I get everything I want out of life if I help enough people get what they want. And when we hear people like, I got another sale, I just sold a package. I mean, I heard, 8 figures in new business coming from just marketing online with their card and generating new customers and things like that. Like, that blows my mind that we can play a small role in helping a business be more successful just by putting the right content in front of the right person at the right time. always surprising to me. I'm not a person. Guy always jokingly says this. You'll see that I'm the biggest extroverted introvert that you will find, and I think that's part of the backstory as well, right? Like, I understand the power that the digital internet and all of that stuff provides us. You can literally not leave your house in this day and age, and now post-pandemic, like even more so with the rise of remote work. And in my mind, it's not just not leaving your house. And again, as an introvert, I love it, right? I don't have to go out. I don't have to commute anymore. I don't have to do a lot of drive time, although I think that's still important to some degree and in some businesses. Take it a step further, I can be anywhere in the world. I was just in Mexico 2 weeks ago, and I'm still able to periodically check in and do a little bit of forward progress on what we're working on. Now, granted, you want to check out every now and then. Just because you're connected doesn't mean you should always be connected. But I imagine, wow, if I wanted to work from a beach halfway around the world, guys, there was a reason why I went to Thailand in the first place. You know, if it wasn't for the sweltering heat and humidity, I'd probably be living remotely the laptop lifestyle. So I think that's this aspect that most people don't understand. Technology allows you to tap into
Absolutely.
the ability to do things from anywhere. This is why, you know, sort of a shameless plug here, like networking on Wednesdays is something that we're so excited about, is because I meet people from all around the world from the convenience and comfort of my home office, and it helps me build my network. You know, that blows my mind that we have people from coast to coast and internationally coming together to meet each other and to see how they can uplift and work together.
Just invited somebody else this morning. So, Kimberly, did you have any other questions? I mean, I just think we sit here and talk to ER all afternoon.
Well, and the funny thing is I could use all of his audio, right, and just put it over all social media, because it really applies across almost every single industry. Is it growth? You have to keep your eyes open, follow the change, and stay connected with each other, because we can help each other and lift each other up. And, you know, competition, yeah, it's a thing, but there is enough for everybody. And you guys can learn from each other's mistakes and from your successes. Everybody's watching somebody else, right? Like, you're watching who's doing it better. Well, somebody else is watching you too. Yep. And so if you guys can talk and actually collaborate on, okay, well, this was a success for me, this was a failure for me, that's that much. I mean, you just said it a minute ago, the fax machine, right? Like, if everybody just was, I got my fax machine, I'm sticking with it, it works. I'm diehard on my fax machine. We'd be in a world of hurt right now. I mean, really, we would. So yes, I think if we're fed it in small steps, we all tend to ingest it a little bit easier, right? Like, you have to slowly realize that you really don't even need a web page anymore. And, you know, that's the shocking truth of it all.
It is.
We're going to leapfrog right over a lot of what we've considered the business card. Your standard purchases of opening a business are no longer your standard purchases. They are literally expenses that you don't necessarily need to make, especially on ground floor.
Especially if they're starting a business for the first time, is that you don't want to go and do what was being done 5 or 10 years ago, because the landscape has changed there. You need to say what's happening right now. And the business card is so funny. It is. It's so funny to me. Like, this was the original business card before we created our digital card when we started the business over a decade ago. Now, first of all, I've got QR codes, and they didn't really become popular in the US until quite recently. So we were already ahead of the curve in hindsight looking back, right? But the reality is, when you are creating a business card because you think to yourself, I need this in order to start a business, what you don't realize is how the performance of these things is just so lacking, right? And that's something that we talk about, not just from like a Go Green initiative on the amount of waste that's happening. And I think I made the comment to you guys the other day. I saw a stat at something like 120,000 acres of forest is used annually to create business cards. And 99% of them are just going to get thrown away, or they're sitting on somebody's desk. Like, that is a huge impact that we can have, much not unlike, you know, the plastic straw had for single-use things. These are truly single-use marketing components. And then if you have to hand out 2,500 of them just to see a 2% uptick in your business, Like, ask yourself, how many did you hand out last week or yesterday or last year? Because if you didn't hand out 2,500, you probably didn't see more than a minuscule impact in your business. Whereas I truly believe and know that the digital version, a digital business card, can have 10 times the impact because people can receive it, they can view it, they can save it, they can follow through with it. You can put more on it. All of that is in turn measurable on the platform. And you know that people are engaging with the material you're sharing with them. It's like a no-brainer. And yet you still see people go back and do the same thing that's always been done. It's like 16th century technology, 21st century technology. Like, which one do you want to use?
I mean, if that doesn't energize you to just take one step forward, right? And what do we always talk about is go as far as you can see, right? And that's the thing, right? The same as when I met you guys. It was like I learned as much as I could learn, and then I would be like, okay, I have a question. And then I would learn the next part of it. And then I was like, okay, now I have a question, So you just keep iterating, pushing buttons, figuring out what's working. Again, the great thing about Shuffle is just go edit. If it didn't work, just go edit it, push edit, change the picture, change the link, change the whatever, move it around, make it what you want it to be, try it again. We always say, that's just, fail your way forward until you figure out what it is that works.
Yes.
And that people are really identifying with, and then do that.
What's crazy is, like, I, again, think back in the day, like when we did a lot of online marketing and affiliate marketing, I segued over to doing some consulting. And I was building people's web pages and websites. And it was a very expensive endeavor for the clients I would work with, right? And they would have to submit a change order, and making a change on their web page would take a week. All of this type of stuff. It's not that way anymore. You don't need to be a computer scientist or a coder or have really any technical experience with design or website building to build a digital presence in today's market. And when you learn that, or when you understand that, the power that gives to you now, it empowers you to get out there and start creating content and messaging, because at the end of the day, that's what has the biggest impact online. It's the people who have influence, or the people who have an audience to go after, and what they're showing or saying to that audience. And then that audience making an informed decision to either go or move forward in the process.
Right? Pick your adventure.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be more complex than that. And I think we typically try to make things more complex than they are, especially if we don't know.
Yep.
And the reality is, if you don't know, then go get educated and realize that it's probably simpler than you think it is. As a business owner, right? When you start a business, if you've never done it before, you're like, what do I do? Right? Well, I've done it a lot of times, so it's pretty simple. Like, go down to your Secretary of State, file a business. It's $10. Go to the bank, open up an account, go to the IRS and get an EIN number. Like, talk to a lawyer, talk to an accountant. There's not a lot of complexity to that. But if it's your first time, and again, a lot of us probably remember our first time with many things. When it's your first time, you're scared as all hell and you don't know what to do, and you're sort of going to muddle your way through it. But after you've done it a few times, it's like riding a bike. You're like, wait a second, it's just pedaling, balance, and speed? I got this. I get it. It makes sense. And now it doesn't matter how long it's been. Jump on the bike and you go.
Right, but to your point, though, you can also go like, wait, is there an easier way to do it now?
That's right.
Right? Maybe now I can go online to the Secretary of State. I don't have to go down there anymore. Maybe now I don't have to have a web builder build me this massive website that I can't control, that I have to continue to pay for, that takes a week to make a change. Maybe there's an easier way. Maybe I need to figure out different tools for different things that are more, and I get it. It can be scary, right? Again, nobody likes change.
Yeah.
But then when you figure out that the tool isn't scary, and that the thing that we're going to help you do is matter of fact, we're going to do that pretty soon, because we're going to get to our next call, is we're going to be here to hold your hand.
Yeah.
We're going to help you along the way. And we have a community behind. I mean, Shuffle is just not a software that we shove at you and say, good luck.
On your own.
You know, we're here to help, and we have a community behind that. We have a lot of people that are willing to help you and cheer you on, and again, network with you.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking. It's almost like a gym membership, right? You can't just go buy Shuffle and say, okay, I signed up for the gym membership. Now I'm going to lose all the weight, right?
I'll have a
You
six
can't
pack in
just
no time.
go,
Yeah.
yeah, sign up for shuffle and like, no, you have to work it. You have to work with your community in order to see results. Like,
100%.
yes, we have come up with the solution, but you have to implement it for
I
any
mean,
mileage to be made.
go back to the analogy I gave about tools in general, right? The excavator versus the shovel, and you want to dig a foundation for your life. Okay. If you decide the excavator is going to dig the foundation 1,000 times faster than the shovel will, and you buy the excavator, but you, one, don't learn how to move the levers and make it operate, and two, you never use it, it's just sitting there on a pile of dirt. And then you're like, oh man, that excavator was worthless. It just never dug the foundation I was hoping for. And then the other guy comes up, jumps in the cab of the excavator and just starts digging their foundation. And 3 days later, the whole foundation is dug. And you're like, well, I guess I know how to use a shovel and I might start digging. No, like you look for the right process and system that's going to serve you in whatever you're doing. And then you look for ways, like Kathy just said, to optimize and make that process or system as efficient as it can be. You understand that long term, there's a law of diminishing return. You can only optimize so much. Like the first optimization you make might save you 50% of your time or quadruple your result. You know what I mean? And then you do it again and you do it again and you do it again until you have your whole system or process dialed in and the tools that you're using. And then you just monitor it and stay on top of it. And, whatever gets measured gets managed, as we like to say. When you see the little blips, oh, it's trending up. Great. What's working? Oh, it's trending down. Maybe I need to reevaluate my process or my system so that I can adjust what those results are so I can make them level off or trend back up again. Like that's at the core of it, what it is. I think about these people, and I've said this before in talking about entrepreneurship. It blows my mind that less than, I think it's 7%, maybe 5 to 7% people in the United States are business owners or entrepreneurs. That means over 90+% are employees. And yet a lot of us, we're just selling our time for money to pay whatever bills we have. And we're dreaming about being our own boss or starting a business or becoming an investor. Anybody who's read like Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrants can understand the model. And I think the trap I see people get into is they leave the 9 to 5 to start their own thing and they become self-employed, which is great, right? Self-employed and entrepreneurial people, we're the only people who will spend 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week, right? And a lot of people will feel that. And that's the entrepreneurial journey, but we own our time, right? We own our time. And the segue that most people need to have happen to go from self-employed to being a business owner is they need to realize they don't own a job, they own a system. And so they start implementing systems in their business, right? And they start hiring employees or contractors to come in and take on roles in their business until eventually, like the goal of every business owner is to get rid of themselves eventually so that the processes and the systems run on its own. You know what I mean? And what is that? That's leveraging the right tools, the right knowledge, the right skills, and the right team members to take you there. Once you start learning these components, right? Build the knowledge, build the skill, and then implementing these components, the impact that it can have in your success and in your life is almost immeasurable in the upside potential.
You also need to leverage your network.
Oh.
And the easiest thing you can do is show them how to introduce you to someone. I don't need you to carry around a piece of paper. I don't need you to remember how to, all I need you to do is share this link with people.
Yes.
And that, to me, leveraging your, yes, leverage employees, leverage the people that have, skills that you don't have. But the more people that you build relationships with and then show them how to refer you, you're going to go global. Right? Everybody, what is it, Kimberly? Everybody wants to go viral, right? Let your business card go viral.
I mean, Kathy, I think the networking component, and I know we've talked about it when we did an interview with you about best practices with networking, it's so critical and it cannot be understated, you know what I mean, or overstated, guys, like how important networking is in your business, especially as part of your sales and marketing effort and doing it properly. Like, Kathy, that's what's so critical, because I see these people and they think networking is all about selling people they meet. And it's not that at all. It's about introducing people to who you are, what you do, and how you serve others, and asking them, if not you, then who? Mm-hmm. And really, I don't want you. Help me by sharing what I do and how I serve people with the people that you know. Because I would much rather tap into somebody's 600 people that they know than make the one sale with that person. And what I'd like to do even more is make that sale with one person, serve them so well that they become a brand champion of mine and say, you know what, I'm so pleased and everything was so awesome. I know 10 other, 20 other, 30 other people who have the same problem I had that you solved, and I want you to solve it for them as well. And so when I refer you, it's also coming along with some type of testimonial or experience or credibility, right? I mean, this is what people put on their website all the time. Now, I worked with so-and-so, and this was my guys, that word of mouth marketing is still the number one form of marketing that exists. If you're empowering people to refer you business, like that's how Elify has grown to date. I know we're winding down this interview right now, but that is 100% over a decade in the industry of how Elify has grown to date. Is we've spent $0 on our marketing, and every customer has brought us to the next customer because they've become raving fans. And we'll continue to do that because we understand the importance behind networking, community, collaboration, and the power that tools and technology can bring to your business.
I think that's a fantastic
Right?
way to end that, right? Yeah, I know.
Right.
I think it's fantastic. Right.
Well, I think we're going to jump over to our next thing. This is sort of how it goes in business, from one thing to the next. I know there'll be future interviews. And look, if you have a question, I'm the interviewee, but here you go. If you have a question that you maybe didn't get answered, that's been sort of in your mind, put it down in the comments. Ask it. We want to be more social here, and we want to know what you want to know. So